Hi, my name is Greg Zeschuk from the Blind Enthusiasm Brewing Company, and we are doing the Cellar report for our very first beer we made, Measure of Patience 2019. This was bottled June 3rd, 2019. We're going to start in the customary way, which is by opening the bottle. All right, well, Doug opens the bottle here. I'm going to tell a little story. I actually had the chance to try this on New Year's Eve a few months back, and I was really pleased. I mean, this is a 5-year-old bottle. And we had great confidence on how it was going to work. I came running back to the brewery, told Doug we really got to try this. We were planning to do these cellar reports, but this was really like the clincher of, a beer like this, 5 years old, tasting delicious. Of course, we'll tell you all about it once Doug finishes opening the bottle, which he's done. All right, let's. And look at this. Look at this cork. Look at this cork. Wow. Smells great. Obviously pours a very pale golden. Good clarity. Nice. All right. Now we'll begin tasting. All right. Let's cheers. And we'll try this delicious beer. Still tasting good. So what are we drinking, Doug? Tell me more.
So yeah, 2019 Measure of Patience, first beer we did. It's been sitting for a while, so first thing that pops out to me is like how clear it is. Our beers are on lees, so sometimes there's like a little bit of haze to them or sediment, but with time they get clearer and clearer. And with time in bottle, small amount of oxygen, what you want, which is why they're corked. It's got like a really nice rich golden color to it too.
Yeah, really. I mean, the color is great. Clarity is great. What age were the barrels on this one? Tell us more about the source of this batch.
Yeah, so with this one being our first batch, we brewed our very first batches of wort in 2018. That was in July, I think July 26th or July 21st. And then this one packaged on June 3rd. June 3rd.
Yeah.
So with it being packaged on June 3rd, the blend was a little under a year when it went into bottle. So therefore, as a result, the acidity level in this beer, even off the hop, was a little bit lower than you'd typically get in our beers nowadays, just because young stock tends to acidify a little bit slower. So with this one, the acidity level, just like it was at like release date, is quite a bit lower. It would be like light, but it's very clean. Like the acidity level is held up. It's very clean.
Well, let's go through the aromas, flavors, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
the aroma on this, like,
Yeah.
it's held up amazing for a 5-year-old beer.
Yeah, it's held up really well. It's still really bright. Something that stands out that's like quite unique that we talked about when we first tasted it like last week or a couple weeks ago, whenever that was that it has a really strong like tea-like quality, like white tea, jasmine tea kind of deal. And then it still holds up with like the stone fruit that's always been there. A lot of like peach, light plum, that kind of thing. A little bit of citrus to it. Like in all of our beers. But then it's starting to get aromatically and in the flavor some of the cellar character to it. Mm-hmm. So a little bit of mustiness coming in, which is pretty typical in this type of beer, in the aroma and in the flavor a little bit. And then a little bit of like vegetal qualities. And then just like little hints of some of the tobacco and nuttiness that comes in with age as well.
And this you're talking about aromas, but the flavors match this quite well. I mean, this is one of those beers where it's almost interchangeable between flavor and aroma. You can say like, that the stone fruit, the white tea, the little bit of must, like a little bit of leather, like it all comes through boldly as well.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
I mean, I think the other thing that really strikes me with this is lost no intensity. It still remains like really intense, which is wonderful. But again, very, the acidity, as you said, it's very light, very clean. Not over the top at all.
Yeah, and then one of the things that we didn't touch on with that is getting into like the texture elements of it.
Yeah.
With time, the texture tends to go down a tad. As a beer sits in the bottle and it goes through chemical changes as well as oxidative changes and a little bit of microbiological changes, it'll lose a little texture. So it'll be a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, but because of all the legwork we did early in the process, it still has like some body to it and like its coating. But then the tannins come through a lot more as it loses a little bit of that texture.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the body, you said carbonation on this is on the lower side, I think.
Yeah, so early on our beers, the carb was a little lower to begin with. I'd say this one is still like quite light.
Yeah.
It's the carbonation, as you saw from the pour, we're getting really nice foam still, but it is lower compared to a lot of the ones we're doing now that have like a distinct prickle to them, as it were.
Right, right. Tasting great. I mean, I would say if you've got a measure of patience from our original releases, I would drink it now. I mean, one thing to remember in ours is kept in our professional cellar that is rock solid at 15 Celsius, good humidity, cellar temps. And if you've got one now, in any case, I'd suggest drinking it. I mean, it may hold up for years yet, and we'll kind of update you as time goes by. But this is tasting phenomenal. It's a really amazing opportunity to taste a 5-year-old beer of this type.
Yeah, it's definitely in a good snapshot. Like we've talked about over time with the cellar beers, especially, they won't always be at peak flavor, and you get these snapshots where they're like really, really good, and then they might readjust chemically and all the things.
Kind of flow
but right now, this one's definitely at a peak, like a peak window, as it were. So.
Tasting great. Drink now. All right. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.